Live from Brazil, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where tonight we are set to kick off a new season here of Beer League competition. Welcome to silly season and to race number 13. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Acinni. We bring you all of racing action from start to finish here of tonight's season opener from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Fan, it's going to be a bit of a wild night here this afternoon. It's silly season, and it's a bit of an interesting one, right? You could call this, I guess, the week 13 of Beer League seasons, because for the first time ever, we're not restricted to one car this season. We got three.
We got three, and we got some interesting choices to mix up with some road tracks. While the trucks seem to go to some road tracks here on the iRacing service, I don't think we see them go too often to Interlagos, as it is colloquially named, and I think he's going to make some fantastic racing with how technical this track is.
It's going to be a bit of an interesting ride indeed, as several drivers are going to get set to cruise on out here this afternoon and have a pretty good night of racing action here today. Of course, we start things off with the NASCAR trucks to kick off the season. Next week, we will be swinging on out to the Pro 2 Lights. Yes, you heard me right. The Pro 2 Lights trucks. So some off-road vehicles going to be taken to the asphalt, and then after that, the Formula Vs will be taken to the circuit, and then, well, it's going to be a rotating cycle between those three vehicles for the 9-week season coming up ahead of us here, with the season finale happening on December 17th, with one off week in the middle of the season as well. So all of this leads us here to Interlagos, where we are currently in the midst of qualifying, just over halfway through the session. And you know, I expect a bit of a lower vehicle count, right? The trucks, I know, not the most popular vehicles on road courses here, Fen, but we got over 40 people out there trying to qualify right now.
I mean, with it being at Interlagos, it's such a fun track. It's such an easy track to get both right and wrong with how technical it is, and then you add in cars that have, I would say, not quite zero downforce, but I think just like a little one step above it. And we'll see some interesting racing here tonight. So I think it's a good combination for all the drivers who do love a little bit of trucks at a road course.
Just saw Chris Bright jump to the number 2 spot, and he's going to loop that one right at the top of the Senna S as well. So, well, Chris Bright putting in a good effort to go to the number 2 spot, and he is still about 0.4 of a second off of Henry Lieberman, the driver currently on a pole position, trying to see if that number 67 Toyota Tundra has an answer for the rest of the field. Other contenders like Alexander Bueller looking set to fight their way up and around the racetrack. Corey Barrett going to close out a lap in his number 7 as he swings it down into turn number 1 as well. Drivers that have yet to finish off a lap, of course, you have Sebastian Close coming out of Junsau, although I think he has yet to start a flying lap, as he's currently on his 5th attempt, but I believe he just came out of pit road. Darren Bai on his 6th attempt at a lap also has yet to put down a lap as well.
The rest of the grid, I think, looking to be a pretty tight competition here, separated by only a few tenths between Henry Lieberman and Chris Bright, and only a few hundredths between Chris Bright and Alex King, and then you're pretty much in that same kind of ballpark, about a tenth to less than that between the rest of the drivers throughout the top 10, which makes for, I think, again, some tight racing here at Interlagos.
5 minutes to go here in qualifying, as Darren Bai is going to take to the front straightaway. He will cross the start-finish line and puts down a 140.270. Good enough for 16th place on the grid. Let's ride on board with Ron Wolf here. He can take you for a lap here around the Interlagos circuit. He currently has qualified himself in 7th, and he has just reached the top of the Senna S.
See him dive down into Senna S's and then around the lovely set of first corners. Going to be a technical braking point as we hop over John Coombs, who is also flying down the straightaway. You're going to be hard on the binders here to get this corner done. No real camber here, and it's also downhill, meaning traction is always a rough one as John runs really wide, which we'll see that car probably getting off track. But he'll come back around for the second half of the lap, a technical set of hairpins to be the second sector.
already made his way through to Interlagos, now approaching turn 8 up at the SAS. So he's going to dive it in for the second tightest turn on the racetrack, through the long turn 9, right through the valley, and now back up the hill towards Bico de Pato at turn number 10. Cuts it back in. That right there, the tightest hairpin on the racing circuit, and you see all the wheel work he has put in through Margolo all the way down the hill. Of course, these trucks have a lot of horsepower underneath them, and all of that going straight to the rear wheels with no traction control to help them out. Out through Junsao, and he's going to head up through Subida dos Boxes. There you see on the left-hand side the chicane. They got the Brazilian stock cars used whenever they come on out here. Through turn 14, turn 15, closing out a lap. Lap times looking to be just over a minute and a half here this afternoon. Obviously, that lap not going to count as he went off the road earlier on racing in qualifying action here today. But plenty of drivers still out on the racetrack and trying to see if they've got an answer.
Yeah, with 3 minutes left in qualifying, that's about their first, second to last trip's going to be happening here before they're going to have to come in for the rest and get set for the fantastic heat feature split.
Sprint race in action not too far away as you look at Steve McClendon fighting his way around. McClendon right now, he is 24th on the grid. They won 41.175. He wanted to break into the top 20. He would need to get at least a 140.771 or quicker. Top 10, though, might be out of reach. You would need to be into the low 139s in order to be able to contend going into the top 10 of the field today.
I think that's just not going to be on the cards at the moment, but a couple more chances here. Might see him try to improve yet still.
Working his way out through Junsao. Once again, remember, there is not the opportunity to close out your qualifying lap once you're done. So Steve McClendon going to be cutting it real close if he can get another lap on the boards here before this session draws to a close. And he is going to be able to sneak in there by just a few seconds, but he's going to have to show some major improvement or he's not going to be able to finish up this final lap. And while he goes off track, that does it.
Yeah, I think he did his best and said, I'm going to park it there. And a couple more when the Bueller trying to finish up a lap here as he comes around the final corner. That lovely bend on the start-finish stretch.
138.226, good enough for second place.
Done.
That would have been good enough for provisional pole if Alex Cofford had taken that away a little while ago with the low 137 of the qualifying session. And Cofford right now trying to see if he can improve on that time as he works his way out of Junsao and up the hill.
And he does. Coming through the last couple corners here. Let's see. Time looks like it could be, but I think it'll be close if that's the case.
Firing up over the hill, across the line, a 137.9. So unable to improve for Alex Cofford. Tough break for him. As he will pull off into the runoff area down at turn number 1. 30 seconds to go here in this qualifying session. Not a lot of other drivers out here on some impressive flyers. Carson Catlin really the lone driver that might be able to show some improvement. Across the line, a 141.968. And that will not be good enough to improve on his run of his best lap of 140.772. So all of this is going to take qualifying to a close here this afternoon, and it is a high time that we take a rundown and see who is going to be starting where in just a little while, as the field going to officially get set to line on up for the sprint race. 15 minutes of action coming on now for the spirit of silly season. Cofford starts this race from pole position alongside Alexander Bueller in number 2. Row 2 on the grid holds Henry Lieberman alongside Chris Bright. Row 3, it's Alex King. He starts alongside Jay Kasich. Row 4 holding Jason Lee for BP Valdez alongside Austin Tucker. Chicken Runners making their long-awaited return. They haven't seen them since the Mustang season back when we first started broadcasting the Beer League. Top 10 closed down by Ron Wolf and John Combs. Row 6 and the end of the transfer spots will hold Eric Ronenberg and Sean Bradley. From there, it's Ben Williams, Chris Flams, and moving on down through the field, you're going to have Brooks Clayton, Matthew Dupuis, Gabriel Gonzalez, Scott Fleming, Darren Bai, Carson Catlin, Greg Beckman, Aaron Thacker, Jeremy Castro, Steve McClendon, Corey Barrett, Ringo Harrison, Adam Joseph Mailhot, Kyle Smith, Ryan Verhulst, Jordan Babcock, Ryan Murphy, Sebastian Close, Evan Campbell, Tyler Carlton, Chris Zilfer, Ethan Conde, Giovanni Armando, Tyler Argostino, Henry Morse, and Justin Hall closes out a 40-car field this afternoon.
A busy grid out there. I think there'll be plenty of spots to play for in the sprint and then the feature race. I think the whole goal is going to be keeping that car going the right direction with how technical this course is. A lot of easy opportunities to lose control of this car with how much horsepower they have and how little downforce by comparison.
And there you see them. All 40 trucks are gridded on up and ready to rumble here this afternoon. And now those revs going to start to build a new season of the Beer League. Set to kick off. Lights are down and we are underway as it is complete pandemonium on the front straightaway. Everyone fanning out, trying to make moves down to the turn number 1. They're fanning out. John Combs going to get turned. Middle of the field, he's going to take out Chris Bright, and they're stacking him up at turn 1. Everyone goes evasive, a hard T-bone shot right to the door, the number 10. They're continuing to spin around to the top of the center as they're finally all going to get out of it. And it is complete carnage at the top of the hill, while one Henry Lieberman breaking away towards turn number 1.
Yeah, Henry Lieberman had a fantastic launch off the jump. Alex Crawford having to try to play catch up now.
And more.
As a result, excuse me.
More trucks going around the 017 and the 4,
no.
both getting turned at the Interlagos. And another one off the road just in front. Again, no surprises, really. Kind of expected to see this from this type of racing here this afternoon with these NASCAR trucks. I mean, they don't handle all that well on road course. Who would have thought the oval-based vehicles don't handle well on the road course?
Well, I mean, yeah, they don't really have a whole lot of things keeping them planted to the road. That they're expecting gravity and inertia and centrifugal force to help them keep the car planted, not aerodynamics. So it makes sense.
And these vehicles have the aerodynamics of a brick being thrown through a window, effectively. So these trucks still dinging off each other. It's completely packed up at the tail of the field. You're still looking to be double file through much of the grid, while one Alexander Bueller, who got away well from pole position, he will lead the way at the end of lap number 1 this afternoon. And we got more trucks spearing off the road, and that's going to be a big mess on the exit of Junsao coming back up the hill.
It is Evan Campbell, Steve McQueen, as well as a few others wrapped up in that 3 wide going down the start-finish stretch. And just craziness on lap 1. I think it's really going to keep on heating up over the course of this sprint race. Looking for 4 wide there in turn 1. That wasn't going to work out too well. They took the wise move and backed out of that one. But let's jump up front here, Ryan, because this battle on your screens here, this is the one to see who will start on pole position. Right now, Chris Flams in that 137 trying to get around Ben Williams, but the truck right behind him is Aaron Thacker. He's sitting in 13th, wanting to find his way into the top 12. Yeah, Aaron Thacker waiting for that opportunity there to pass his teammate. I think he's able to get it done, but we'll have to see if he can try to keep his teammate also in the transfer spots as they continue to go around the second sector here.
Fighting back up the hill into the hairpin as the 816 just going to be able to hold on. No, Chris Flams drives back around the outside of him. So Chris Flams hot on the heels of his own teammate there, while Jake Casey fights his way around John Combs. Could open up the door. Ross and Tucker to have a look down the inside. And all the while, the battle for that final transfer position continuing to pick up. Alexander Bueller continuing to pull away at the front with a 1.4 second gap and resetting the fastest lap of the race. Side by side for 13th as Thacker could be forced to give up a spot to Henry Morse.
I think it was a game of who was latest on the brakes, as we see Alex King rejoining the track from where he went off.
Yeah, Alex King rejoins the racing circuit, and that makes Henry Morse now on attack for Chris Flams for 11th on track. As he's going to send that one down to the inside to see Interlagos. No problems there. He gets through, and a bit of a body check just behind as the 25 of Gabriel Gonzalez got forced off the racetrack by Darren Bai.
A hip check there, sees both of those cars, get through it in one piece, but I'm sure Gonzalez is going to be trying to find his way back around to retake that position. Almost a late contact there between those two.
And
I'm sure he's...
Oh, boy. Kasich forcing the issue on Austin Tucker. Tucker's going to tag him right back. Not happy about how Kasich just sent her up the inside of turn 10 and back down into Junsao. John Combs waiting in the wings. And it's a long draft run all the way up over the top of the hill, right? How many battles have we seen come down to the wire here? Last time the beer league was out here was in SCCA Spec Racer Fords, and the battle for the lead was decided in a 3-wide grudge match by 11 thousandths of a second after an hour of racing. That was one of the final races of, I think, season 9, and out wide gonna go Casey. He's gonna have to cut across the center S and rejoin at Curva du Sol, and that is gonna cause him to drop well down the order.
Yeah, that time, both just being on the grass already, and then theoretically there's a time penalty on top of that to slow down though, so he doesn't get a black flag, which will have served just by being in the grass. But he's not going to stay content. Makes the look. I think he's trying to make up as many positions as he can at this point.
Fights his way to get up around Sean Bradley. Bit of a twitch there coming out of Interlagos. Sean Bradley trying to force the issue here, and he is going to clear from Jake Kasich's number 11. Working back around, 9 minutes to go here in this one. Matthew Dupuis sitting right behind. He wants to go as well as Henry Morris giving a tag to the back of Bradley, trying to push him along so he doesn't lose another spot.
Yeah, Henry Morris on a tear. I think he's trying to keep up the momentum he's had. Number up a good whole host of positions, 31 from where he started, and I think he wants to keep on making that forward momentum work for him instead of trying to fight Jake Kasich behind him.
Oh, hold on, as John Combs slipping the tail end out as he is trying to catch this here, fighting his way up the racetrack and firing off down the front straightaway as he tries to pull away with the 6th place spot. Henry Morris once again going to look to the inside of Jake Kasich. Sends one to the inside of, Sean Bradley, that is. Clears it pretty easily. Not a big fuss there between the two of them. And some more battles headed on down into turn 1 right behind. The hardest breaks onto the racetrack, and expect to see a lot of front wheel lockups there on lap 1 of the main event.
Yeah, we saw a good handful on the first lap of the sprint race as well. I can't imagine it being any different for the feature. Lockup there can be disastrous depending on where it locks amongst that braking zone, as we see the results of that from a car trying to go backwards to turn himself around.
That would be Greg Beckman, who has found himself facing the wrong direction here. Take a look at what happened to Beckman coming up and over the rise at turn 1. And that is going to be self-inflicted. Just spins himself out, and he is going to nose it into the Arco.
Yeah, unfortunately, on the power too early there, too much rotation at the same time caused that car to slide and spin instead of applying the power. Very easy to do in these cars with the lack of downforce they got, and also being in not their, I'd say, their native environment.
Henry Morse trying to see if he's got an effort here to try to attack John Combs. Morse up 32 positions in the sprint. A big loose moment there for John Combs. Lets Henry Morse through on the inside pretty easily down the front straightaway. So Henry Morse punches his way into 6th. Jake Kasich round the outside of Sean Bradley as well in the turn number 1. We are well over halfway now through the sprint.
Sean Bradley there trying to get out of the way of Jake Kasich and maybe kind of put up a defense, but I think it was mostly just stay out of the way of a hard charge in case it looking to make up the positions he lost early on.
Several drivers swinging out wide through the center S. Among those is Matthew Dupuis, the 703. Thought about going for an attack down the inside of Sean Bradley. Didn't work out too well for him. Ben Williams trying to fight this one out. He has got Chris Flams with him. Giovanni Romano seeking more room just behind as he's trying to make a run. Looking for the inside is going to be the 187 of Williams, and tracking up with Chris Flams to the inside and still holding on.
This battle here, I don't think is going to go anywhere, especially, oh, there's that lockup though. Thankfully keeps it out of that door panel. Both those will keep working their way around towards Janelle and then get through the back half of the lap.
And problems for John Combs as off into the grass, and he is going to be dumped outside of the top 13 transfer. So big problems there for Combs as the rest of the field continuing to fight their way down the pit straight. There goes Romano. Oh, Williams kicking the tail end out on the brakes. That lets Romano slip through. Barely, not quite. Williams still has a nose in there. And behind, Alex King chasing down Aaron Thacker.
Yeah, Alex King also looking to make up those positions. We talked about Jay Kasich having a hard charger trying to make him up. I think Alex King in the same boat. He's down 11 from where he started from that unfortunate spin earlier on. I'm looking to see how far up the grid he can get so he can break into those transfer spots in the closing minutes here as we get past the halfway mark.
Looking as though Chris Zofer may have had an issue towards the tail end of the field along with somebody else. Take another look at this one here. As back end goes around on him off into the grass, and he was actually joined by the 51 as well. I thought maybe they came together, but no, just two different incidents of trucks just slipping wide.
Yeah, those tires locking up like we talked about for both those drivers. I think one of them had a little bit of that follow the leader mentality. You know, you watch your car go off, you go off the exact same time that they go off, even though you know you should.
Jake Casey and Matthew Dupuis fighting their way through as well. As the battle pack going to continue to show strong movement here. And critically, Alex Crawford has been running down Bueller for the lead of the race. The gap down to just 0.8 of a second. Can Crawford catch Bueller for the sprint race win before the final lap?
I would say, given that they're running very similar lap times, if Bueller keeps up the pace, it will be very close. But if he has any moment of like a wiggle or anything like that where that gap can finish closing down, I think there's a very real possibility Alex Crawford will leverage the draft on that start-finish stretch and get around him in the braking zone turn number 1.
Well, the battle for the transfer spot is effectively fallen by the wayside as there's a 2.4-second gap now between 12th and 13, but you still got fights elsewhere on the track that have yet to be decided. A big one right now for 14th through 17th is Combs, King, Thacker, and Augustino under a blanket, and in fact, King just slid wide, so he'll drop to the tail end of this battle pack.
Yeah, a bit of heartbreak there as Alex King's trying to make up the time, but having these little moments here that are causing him to lose at the same time that he's trying to gain is gotta be frustrating there. Oh man, especially with how hard he's pushing that car.
Alexander Bueller working what could be the final lap of this race as well. 1.5 minutes left on the boards. His best time being a 1:38, so we could very well be seeing the final lap being circulated right now as drivers make their way to the start-finish line. Matthew Dupuis trying to fend off Lambs.
I think Matthew Dupuis really struggling in some areas here. We'll see if he's able to keep this together for the last couple laps. Keep his P10 position.
Cover taking the usual early exit, getting himself a black flag so we can just send it into a corner of unknown description. Well, that should leave Alexander Buehler with a pretty surefire winner here in the 15-minute sprint.
I would say unless anything happens in the last couple corners, which can happen, we'll see Alex Buehler make his way around the start-finish line to claim this first sprint win of the silly season and get himself all strapped into 12th place after the transfer spots apply.
Up over the rise, out of Junsao, Alexander Buehler looking for the checkered flag. This time by, clock expires now. And it will be Alexander Buehler winning the sprint race here to kick off silly season in the beer league.
Henry Lieberman going to come home P2 there. Henry Morse also going to find himself just beating out Ron Wolf here on the start-finish stretch for the third podium here, and the rest of the field slowly coming their way down to make their usual post-race shenanigans. Oh.
It's the usual crowd, right? I mean, no one's surprised to see this in the slightest. It's a nice little corner that kind of all bottle into.
Yeah, it's a really easy one if you just keep following the tire barrier around to the corner.
Yeah. They're getting the memo this time.
Yeah.
Well, overall, a solid sprint race to kick off the action here this afternoon. So with all of that said and done, the sprint result is going to flash up on your screens here now as we are going to look to take a break in just a moment, but for the time being, Buehler wins the sprint, Lieberman second, Morse third, Wolf in fourth, Tucker, Bradley, Kasich, Romano, Flams, and Dupuis round out the top 10, and started on the front row, it will, of course, be Ben Williams and Jason Lee. That is the top 12 invert, and we will be back with the main event here in just a moment. Stay with us. We will be back soon on Green Flight TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Racing action set to continue in just a few moments. If you're just tuning in, welcome back to the show. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Acinni as we bring you all of racing action from start to finish here at the Beer League. An exciting 15-minute sprint race here, Fen. And, well, the main event is just about a minute away, and it's looking to be just as entertaining.
I absolutely agree. I think we'll have an equal amount of excitement over the course of the hour-long feature race here, and I think it'll be a rather fun experience to see how these drivers settle in with the 65% fuel capacity they have. This hour-long race, I don't think should be too long or too many pit stops to get through and done and dusted, but I think it'll be unique to see how the NASCAR pit teams handle road fuel stops at Interlagos.
Well, 15 seconds on the docket here, and as they are set to close things on out, it's about high time that we take a rundown of what that starting grid is going to look like for main event action here in just a few minutes' time. Started on pole position for the feature. Once the warm session draws to a close, that's when the top 12 inverts will be made official. As the driver's fun on pit road is brought to a pretty abrupt halt as they will forcefully drag every single driver kicking and screaming to the grid, ready for yet one more standing start before the afternoon is out. Here we go. It's Jason Lee starting the pole position alongside Ben Williams. From there, you will, of course, have Matthew Dupuy alongside Chris Flams. Row 3 on the grid, it's going to be Giovanni Romano and Jake Kasich, with row 4 holding Sean Bradley and Austin Tucker. Top five rows headed up by Ron Wolf and Henry Morris, and then the sprint race runner-up, Henry Lieberman, alongside the sprint race winner, Alexander Bueller. Moving on back through the field, it's going to be John Combs, Tyler Augustino, Alex King, Aaron Thacker, Ringo Harrison, Gabriel Gonzalez, Brooks Clayton, Kyle Smith, Darren Bai, Ryan Verhall, Scott Fleming, Jordan Babcock, Jerry Castro, Eric Ronenberg, Corey Barrett, Justin Hall, Carson Catlin, Steve McClendon, Chris Bright, Chris Zilfer, Greg Beckman, Ethan Conley, Sebastian Close, Ryan Murphy, Tyler Carlton, Alex Cofford, Andros Belhot, and Evan Campbell close out the 40-car field.
And as they all make it to the grid, it's going to be, I think, a fantastic. So I'm curious to see if we have a more or less chaotic start for this feature race.
I think more, honestly. I think we were lucky to only get away with really one or two multi-truck pileups at the end of lap number 1. But I mean, you got to remember, these things not made for this place. So I'd be shocked if we didn't walk away with a big one here in turn 1.
I get the feeling it'll probably be, I want to say less. I want to juxtapose. We're going to see a less exciting first lap. But the rest of the race may prove to make up for that and then some.
So Jason Lee waiting patiently at the head of the field, still waiting for a few more drivers to get gridded on up. Alex Cofford, Henry Lieberman, Morse Romano, and Flams have all yet to grid on up. You can see a few empty slots still waiting. I know some drivers will look to start this race from pit road. I think Morse actually going to be one of them, making for an interesting starting run. And here we go as the main event officially set to kick off this afternoon. The revs are going to build. And it's go, go, go! Chris Flams from 4th place has jumped the start. So Chris Flams forced to come down to pit road early on, but it's going to be a madhouse all the way down here into turn number 1 as everyone fanning out 3x3 wide. The 8-car Jason Lee gets turned around. And otherwise, we are clean through turn number 1.
Well, I hate being right here, but as they get around through Curva del Sol, I'm excited to see this many cars running too wide coming down into the technical end of the first sector.
Everyone going to fan on out as they make their way through Descida del Lago here this afternoon. Does everyone make it through clean? Oh, a couple of drivers getting a little bit nervy, but it looks like, once again, we've been able to escape relatively unharmed. What about the first of the hairpins as we work our way up over the hill? Still looks like it's going to be a bit of a clean opening, so I think drivers may have gotten the Gremlins sorted on out earlier in the sprint race. As I say that we got one around, but it's a single truck incident out of the back of the field.
Yeah, we got a couple more running 3 wide into this hairpin. That'll absolutely end well. Oh, I'm a little hesitant here to say that it's going to actually end that way, but further forward in the field, they've zippered down very nicely.
So the field going to fight their way up over the rise, and Chris Flams is going to be forced to come down to pit road. He got black flag for jumping the start. You don't see that all that often, but when it bites hard, and Chris Flams is, well, he's not coming in yet. I'm not sure what the call is. I wonder if he's hoping for an early race code 69 to bail him out so he can try to get himself serving it that way. Been unorthodox, but I mean, hey, we've seen drivers do it before.
We have, but I don't know if I've seen them do it this early when the black flag is on lap number 1, and we are still not even 5 minutes into this race, and with another minute 30 lap time around, I don't think we'll open up that air window as these oh, that's a shaky looking car.
Yeah, Sean Bradley got into the grass coming on the exit of the Senna S and didn't have a good run, and oh no! Looking like a big hit into the wall for Ethan Condy, who's had a problem and gone around. He's going to get that truck back sorted now, but we'll take a look at what has happened to Condy coming out of the Curve du Sol. All by himself as he's going to catch too much of the curve. Spins around and hard into the wall and fires him back across the track where he collected pretty heftily a few trucks that got ping-ponged around in the middle of the straightaway.
Yeah, those trucks, I believe, involving Tyler Carlton.
Evan Campbell is one of them.
Yes, yeah. So, but they've gotten those cars going back the right direction, or those trucks, I should say.
Code 69 period opens pretty much at the end of the next lap. Now, it is worth noting, right? They have changed the probability on Code 69s. There is guaranteed to be at least one in every single race. The time of caution-free races then is drawn to an end.
Well, this is also silly season, so I think it makes sense to give them a little bit more grace to get these cars back onto the lead lap. Should they have, rough races like we've seen a couple already have, and I'm sure we'll see a few more have before that 69 is thrown. I think it'll be interesting to see how that restacks the field and if we have a more crazy restart than we did the initial start to this feature race.
Alex Cofford on the move at the start of lap 3. He is already up now 19 positions from the start. Started all the way back at 38th, and he is up to 19th spot now. Corey Barrett off the road, and he has gone into the tire walls at the exit of Interlagos.
Yeah, I think it's another one of those issues we'll see as this car gets rejoined. I think he had a little bit of help trying to get around.
That was the earlier incident. This was the actual incident that we were just looking at. There is, doesn't look to be able to find him for Corey Barrett, but coming around, Chris Flams, he's going to have to serve that penalty this lap where he could face a disqualification.
Yeah, he has to come down this lap. I don't think he's going to be able to get that window open soon enough. The question will be whether or not he takes it. You see him dive, release that look, and then he does, in fact, make his way to pit lane. Pit lane speed limit pretty early on in there, right as you kind of hit that crest. So we'll see if he managed to get it slowed down enough or if he sends that black flag by speeding in pit lane. Oh boy, howdy. Ringo. Excuse me.
Here we go as we got a fight for third. Henry Lieberman making the pass on Matthew Dupuis right behind Alex King and Sean Bradley to by headed into the corner. Sean Bradley, we were just talking about him, right? He was looking a little unsettled a couple laps ago coming through that straightaway, but they've managed to fight this one out. So King going to lose out to Bradley, who has managed to find his footing a little bit. Tyler Agostino sitting right behind him wants to rumble. And there is Scott Fleming and Gabriel Gonzalez going side by side up over the hill.
Oh man, these two, I think, will have an interesting time here, especially as they, big, almost moment there. Managed to snap it up before it becomes an issue.
And up into the wall, going to be going the number 37 of Scott Fleming, and that caused Brooks Clayton to kick the tail end out. So Clayton now on the move. Scott Fleming trying to make a run for it as well, looking to go down the inside, but Brooks Clayton continuing to battle this one out the long way. And the 19 wanted to try and make a move as well. Henry Lieberman putting down the fastest lap of the race once more.
Yeah, Henry Lieberman trying to find his footing to get back on the top of the timing tower. Started in third, I believe, before the sprint race. So I think he's looking to make his way back up after the inverse of the feature.
One car out wide behind. It's Carson Catlin going to rejoin with no issues. While Brooks Clayton continues to keep up the pressure, Alex Cofford cutting his way through the field, still up now 23 positions. And now Henry Lieberman jumping on Jay Casey for second place, trying to find a way around the number 11, while Ben Williams has worked out a 1.9 second gap. But whoa! Henry Lieberman slides the back end down as Jay Kasich braked a little bit earlier and lets him right on through. Talk about a move there. Some great heads-up driving there from Henry Lieberman. From Jay Kasich, sorry, take him right on board.
Yeah, you'll see here as they come out of the second hairpin going into the third one, you'll see this car loose and late on the brakes. We'll see him slide out, and then Jay Kasich just getting the opportunity to take his line will get through and wave goodbye as he sees another rear mirror.
An impressive look for Jay Kasich, and that gets him a 1.6 second advantage back to Matthew Dupuis. While other contenders like Sean Bradley, Tyler Augustino, and more set to make moves. 51 minutes on the clock as Sean Bradley kicks the tail end out. Trying to find it out with Augustino, who goes around the outside of the Beep Beep lettuce machine. Of course, that team, a new one to the beer league here. So some new additions coming in. We already talked about Chicken Runners making a long-awaited return, right? So some teams are turning, some from old, and some brand new.
Either way, super cool to see all the teams that are making their way back, especially ones that are from much older seasons, getting to put their names back on that team championship roster, even if it's for a silly season.
And around goes Alex King at the back as he goes spearing off into the infield grass. John Combs and Henry Lieberman fighting it out here with Matthew Dupuis. And the Chicken Runners duo trying to work together to power around the outside of Henry Lieberman. Dupuis and Combs trying to work together, but Lieberman too much of an advantage on the inside for them to do much about it.
Too much of an advantage, and he's just going to have to push and see what he got. Oh my goodness. I thought that car was going to slide out from under him just behind, but he did not.
Multiple cars kicking the back end out as, hold on. Couple of trucks hopping up over the grass in the Santa Ana at the top of Curvature Soul. And Gabriel Gonzalez going to be forced off the road. Could be looking for 3 wide here as they head down the Reto Pasta straight towards the Cito del Lago. But it looks like they're going to gather it up more or less. Giovanni Armando also on the move, now up to the 18th place spot. after starting his race from pit road.
Yeah, most of these drivers that start on pit road find their ways up to the top 20 at this point. So I'm interested to see if they're able to break into the top 10, like Alex Cofford is slowly making his way up there as he sits in 14th.
John Combs, Matthew Dupuis, Austin Tucker. 4, 5, and 6, all of them Chicken Runners teammates. But so far, hasn't really appeared like a lot of them are wanting to work together here. It really has been a bit of an every man for himself type of race, as Henry Morse could be at risk of losing out of having to overtake his own teammate Alex King. King's off the road, and Morse fights through on the inside. Alex Cover looking to pick up another spot. Cover once again, in just 12 minutes, is up 24 positions. Make that 25 as he slides to the 13th as King goes around.
And Alex King, again, gone around once already, so making that twice. That car not happy with Alex King and vice versa. Interesting to see if he can figure out how to get that car to play a little bit nicer with him over the course of the rest of the feature.
Henry Morse, meanwhile, he tries to fight it out with Darren Bai and Alex Cofford. 11th through 13th. All of them under a blanket as they try to battle this one out. There's Alex Cofford looking to the inside of Darren Bai. He's going to send it to the inside and get through. He does. So Cofford now up 26 positions.
And he just keeps racking them up, huh?
Sure does. While up the road, Matthew Dupuis under fire from Austin Tucker as they get set to make their way down towards Junsao. Once again, Chicken Runners teammates lined up line astern. And all the while, Jake Kasich steadily running down Ben Williams in the lead of this race.
Yeah, Ben Williams diving in to pit lane. Henry Lieberman also joining in. John Combs, a good portion of the field, I think, going to come in this lap to start their pit cycle. We'll probably see the rest of the field come in next lap that have not come in this lap. I get the feeling that'll mean our fuel tanks pretty short for this car.
Well, that's not uncommon for stock truck races, right? I mean, heck, in a 100% length race, right? I mean, these trucks will easily make 3, 4, 5 stops every single race, about one every 20 minutes or so. So we're just about on par, effectively, at least for stock trucks. So a good chunk of the field, vice versa through. 4 tires and fuel for most. Sean Bradley taking fuel only in his machine. And so far, he is the only driver that has opted for a fuel-only strategy, and I can't for the life of me imagine why he would have done that, because now he's... Oh, what in the world is going on here?
Code 69 got beginning at the end of lap 8. Or lap.
Oh, well, that explains why drivers came down pit road. We never got the call. All right, then. So Code 69 is very much in play. That explains the mass exodus call to pit road. So we are going to once again jump back. We'll let drivers sort this out, and racing action can continue in a moment on Green Flag TV. Well, welcome back to Green Flag TV. The Code 69 still very much active here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, and we are under the caution flag for the first time, really, all season long. Once again, my name is Nolan Rempel. Supposed to be joined alongside Acinni, but it does look like Fenn has had some issues. Of course, Fenn is right now on the road, and therefore hotel Wi-Fi not always the most reliable. So we'll hopefully see him rejoin us before too long. But for now, we are under the Code 69 for the first time here this afternoon. Coming on up here on Green Flag TV, it's been Talladega week throughout pretty much the entirety of the runs here. Speed Cup Series out of Talladega tomorrow night. Premier Sim Racer was out there earlier tonight as well. Welcome on board, by the way, to our PSR viewers. Mid-Atlantic Racing Series is going to be out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway alongside the SRA race at Pocono. Blazing Pedals ARCA Series will be back with more at Michigan. And then next week, it's the it's the OMSRL Gold Series out of the Magic Mile. Only 3 races left to go for them. Confirmation coming in. Restart will be the next lap by in turn 4. So these drivers are going to get set to double up any second now. And then we'll be back with more. So once again, as we are getting set to restart this race at turn 4 on the next lap, Fenn, do we have you back with us?
Yes, I am. Now my internet has decided done fighting with me. I have returned.
Yeah, hotel Wi-Fi, it's not great, not great.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm on my cell phone's hotspot, which my phone died, which doesn't help either.
Oh, wow, that's a double whammy right there.
Nope, it's this.
So your Wi-Fi
right?
literally died.
Yes.
Fun.
Well, we're back now. So.
So Jake Kasich, Matthew Dupuis, Austin Tucker, Castro, Romano, Coffer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the Code 69 will be drawing to a close once again, this time by, but it will be in turn 4. They will look to double up as they approach the opening corner. In fact, there they go. There's the order to double them up.
I think the restart on turn number 4 is probably a wise decision, given that the first 3 are pretty hairy based on the way we have seen these race starts go.
So they'll work their way through turn 1. The field stacked up, doubled up, ready to go once again. And there it is, green flag back in the air as Jake Kasich lays them down towards the opening corner. Trouble front straightaway as Jeremy Castro going around. Multiple trucks caught up in this one. And they are stacking them up in the back end of the field. Multiple trucks going around and dinging off the wall. Overall, Not as bad for as I thought. 2 more get spun around just up the road. But otherwise, we are clean and green as we fight our way back around to the middle portions of the racetrack.
These drivers have zipped it up early to help make this change over to the second sector much easier and nicer.
Giovanni Romano fighting this one out here with Matthew Dupuis. Alex Copper now in the mix. Henry Morse, Henry Lieberman. 2 by as they'll fight their way through 8th and 9th. And now John Combs slipping backwards as he's got a bit loose. Got put on the inside of 3 wide, and he's on the inside of 3 wide again with Chris Flams and Alex King. Up over the rise, King's able to pull clear.
Yeah, looks like John Combs has a little bit of almost not quite cold tires, but definitely struggling to get those tires fired back up. And they're sliding all over the place as a result. Oh boy.
And we got multiple trucks going around to the back here. There goes Aaron Thacker spinning around 4 wide for a moment as they scramble to avoid him. Everyone's going to split the 816, and somehow that doesn't end up being worse than a single truck accident. Speaking of single truck accidents, could be in for another one here as Kyle Smith put in the middle of 3 wide with Tyler Augustino and Henry Lieberman.
Kyle Smith had a slide in the turn number 1 just a moment ago, so having that and then dealing with being in the middle of a truck sandwich, I think is probably also not the easiest. It's recovering overall pretty well. Chris Zofer goes for a spin as well just before the hairpins.
So Kasich, Romano still fighting for the lead. Dupuis, Cofford, 3rd and 4th. Cofford now up 34 positions from the start of this race. Hold on, look out, Lieberman! Sideways up over the hill, and he pulls it underneath him. What a slide for Henry Lieberman up over the hill. Take another look.
A fantastic bit of quick thinking and fast footwork when this car gets a little bit loose with that aero wash, loses that grip.
Great save. And for the lead, they're 2 by 2 as once again, Jay Kasich under fire. Giovanni Romano fighting to the inside. Kasich around the long way. Out of the seat of Interlagos, Kasich still has a nose in there. Can he force the issue on Giovanni Romano to the inside? Romano up on the outside. And Kasich trying to fight this one out still, and Mendes still 2 by 2 wide.
Oh my gosh, continuing to be 2 by 2 as they're coming through the fantastically technical sector. Giovanni Romano just refusing to give up, continue to keep a nose in, continue to do so as they go to Dungeon. And I think Giovanni's going to try to hold it in here, see how far he can run it 2 wide. While they do this, the rest of the pack just really quickly catching up.
Well, Giovanni Romano gets clear, but Jay Kasich looking back for the inside. He wants to battle back here against Romano, but he gets loose, and that's going to force him to back out. So Romano slipping clear up at the head of the field.
Well, draft might pull him back into a fight next time by. So he's not clear yet.
Well, he's going to build up the gap to about 0.4 of a second at least in the braking zone, so he is certainly walking out the gap quickly. As there goes the number 87 car. Alexander Bueller making that run to the inside of Justin Hall alongside Tyler Augustino and Alex King. And just behind, look at everyone following each other off the road.
Well, we talked about it in qualifying. I believe it's the thing that can happen here. Kind of get, loose, kind of want to follow your opponents that are in front of you. You assume they're doing something right, that's why they're in front of you and not behind you, but sometimes they have their moments where they do the thing that you don't want to actually be following them through.
Well, the problem is you got to be careful doing that, right? Because, I mean, these guys do have an incident point limit, so if you do that every single lap, it's going to catch up to you quickly. And look at how quickly, by the way, the 64 Justin Hall is dropping through this field. He is just being passed up left, right, front, and center. Justin Hall has no pace under that 64.
Yeah, I think he's still trying to get this car figured out. And with a big slide there, keeps it from completely spinning out, but I think that car is just not agreeing with him tonight. I think he's been struggling to find pace with it. I think it'll be a little bit back to the drawing board for the next round of these NASCAR trucks to see where he can find more pace, at whatever track we go to next with them.
Fastest lap of the race, reset once again for Alexander Bueller, who is continuing to claw his way further the field, and around goes Justin Hall. He's not the only one, as Steve McClendon has spun it as well in sympathy just behind him. While Ben Williams overtakes Sean Bradley for 7th.
Ben Williams trying to make up some positions here after the pit cycle.
So Ben Williams will look to the inside of Sean Bradley. Matthew Dupuy and Henry Lieberman are fighting it out for 5th and 6th. Dupuy trying to see if he can find a hole while Lieberman slips through as well. And now Kyle Smith with a bit of a washout. And now Jake Kasich, Alex Coffin, and Henry Morse continuing to battle it out.
Yeah, those top three are definitely going to be, I think, people to keep an eye on. Or really, these middle three, sorry, I shouldn't say top three. Giovanni Romano hanging out by himself just ahead of these three drivers. But these three still within a second of each other in total. I think we'll see a battle here come up for positions. Alex Cofford and Henry Morris look to maybe move. I think they might have a quick bit of a bump there between those drivers.
No!
Oh, no!
A massive impact for Alex King and Darren Bai on the front straightaway. Something devastating has just happened to King's machine, and we're not done yet. We got more trucks still sliding in here. Matthew Dupuy has gone around as well. Take a look back at this one here.
Oh, man.
And this starts with Alex King coming up over the top of turns 14 and 15, and he's going to just drift into the grass and lose the tail end all by himself. Noses it hard into the wall, spins her around, and then out of nowhere just gets clobbered by Darren Bai. And then along comes Matthew Dupuy, who does the same, and he's going to go slamming right into the tire bundles, and boom, another impact as one of Dupuy's teammates came sliding in.
Yeah. Code 69 beginning at the end of this lap.
How
so
fitting.
That, thankfully, is the perfect time for all these drivers to come in and grab their second pit stops and make up some of the damage, time lost to that hard and fast incident.
On board with Dupuy, sorry, with Ringo Harrison. On board with Harrison. I mean, what are you doing? Not clear.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh.
I feel like there's some you could argue there's some responsibility as well on Dupuy to slow down a bit for the accident, but I don't get why King is still pulling all the way across the racetrack.
Yeah, I think so. There was maybe some brakes that didn't get held there that could have been, but let's see, 4 sets of tires for a lot of these drivers. Giovanni Romano, one of those many drivers to take them. Coming in from the lead of the race, will come out behind Ben Williams and Sean Bradley, who have not come into pit.
second code 69 of the day, and this one will see us go green from here to the end of the race. 28 minutes are on the clock. Once again, we'll step back and be back with more in a moment on Green Flight TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Second code 69 of the day, set to draw to a close, this time by at turn number 4. Welcome back to round 1 of season 13 of the Beer League as we get set to go back at it here for the final 20 minutes or so of racing action tonight. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Acinni. We bring you all the action from start to finish on what's been a thriller so far this afternoon. And, well, Fen, we are in it once again.
That we are. It's going to be an exciting sprint to the finish. Another 20 minutes, and we are about to go green here with Ben Williams leading us off.
They'll fight their way through turn number 3. Gearing up for turn 4. Ben Williams seeking to lead them to the green already. Some drivers trying to look for that middle line, wanting to get the best launch possible. Green flag back in the air, coast and drops to a close, but a lot of wheel spin for Ben Williams. He's going to get mobbed 3 wide for the lead for a moment. And Sean Bradley pulls clear from the lot as they fight their way through. And this time by, looking like we're all going to be clean and green. But boy, talk about a bad launch from Ben Williams as he's dropped from 1st to 5th in the opening bell.
Yeah, like you said, that wheel spin just catching him as he is unable to go anywhere, just having to feather the throttle there to not break traction. And sees him pushing hard as a result, and we'll also see him sliding to keep a hold of and not slap back any further from where he is in 6th at the moment.
So, and around goes Jake Kasich. Kasich got a push out from the 187 of Ben Williams, and as a result, he's going to get sent tumbling all the way down the field. Just now manages to rejoin all the way back in 33rd, and all the efforts to get up there have gone up in smoke. Teammates Sean Bradley, Giovanni Romano going side by side for the Hot Dog Olds team. And here comes Henry Morris, wanting to make it 3 wide for the lead down to the turn number 1 this time by.
Man. It'll be interesting to see who breaks latest. Giovanni Romano on the inside there. I think he's going to be able to hold on to it for the moment, but Henry Morris is looking to not keep the foot out either.
Giovanni Romano fends off the pass as Alex Coffer going to push Henry Morris out wide and nearly pings off the door of him as he rejoins the racing circuit. But Alex Coffer going to be the one that pulls clear into Interlagos, but Morris looking back for the inside, trying to get back to him, and is there in turn 5.
Oh, these two got to sort it out quick, because otherwise, if they don't, Giovanni Romano is just going to run away with it.
Well, they continue to fight this one through as it is 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Just behind them, Jason Lee stomps on Matthew Dupuy and steals away the last spot inside the top 10. Drivers once again separated out to their own little battle packs here as we've got under 20 minutes to go.
It'll be interesting to see if they have a final pit stop at this point. I get the feeling they will, and how that'll shake things up as they probably go for a final splash of fuel and maybe not a set of tires as a result.
Quite possibly. I mean, we got drivers that are looking set to have some good lunges here. There goes Ben Williams as he, there goes Alexander Bueller as he takes a spot away from Sean Bradley. And Bueller slips out wide, and he's going to go wide almost into the grass, and Sean Bradley ducks back through on the inside to pick up 6th place. Well, Lieberman fighting it out with Crawford for 3rd.
Yeah, Henry Lieberman trying to catch back up to Henry Morris, who is just behind Giovanni Romano at this point, but is still being hounded by Alex Crawford. I get the feeling these 4 will see go up and down the order. That 22, however, of Sean Bradley there, I think.
Darren By.
Oh, excuse me, Darren By.
And there was a bit of a collision up front there. There goes Kyle Smith, and he's the one that clips by it, spins them both around.
Fortunate for Darren By, who had been having a pretty successful race outside of that.
Ben Williams trying to once again hunt to the inside of Sean Bradley for a spot. Bradley going to fend him off as they make their way down the stretch towards Junsao. Sean Bradley able to pull clear as he fights his way up the hill.
Sean's going to have to keep an eye on Alex Bueller to keep this car behind him ideally. But the draft here very strong with these cars. It's like you said, punching a brick punching through air. It's not a whole lot of aerodynamics for the lead driver to really benefit from and stay ahead of a car in the draft.
And for the final podium position, Crawford side by side with Lieberman. But that fight, one that Alex Crawford is going to win on out as he attacked him entering turn number 1. And Crawford completes the pass on the 67. And another car up and around. It's Aaron Thacker. This time slipping wide at turn 1. And he is not the only one as we got more cars going around to the back.
Unfortunate. And that's such a bad spot, too, because you're right on the racing line as you have to try to turn that car around.
This is a look on what happened here to Thacker as, oh man, the 12 was already sideways right in front of them.
Yeah.
And then as all this is happening, up the road, they just, it's the 12 again getting spun around.
Yeah. Ryan Burrell's having, I think, a rough evening in this truck car tonight.
Well, so Ryan Verhulst fighting this one out as behind Matthew Dupuy, Tyler Augustino, Scott Fleming, John Combs also scrambling at it, trying to see if they can go for a run.
Jason Lee and Ben Williams also side by side just ahead of him. You can see up top there. I think it's going to be these spots still to play for in the closing stages here. Excited to see whose consistency wins out with such an unconventional setup of car and track, which I think has been made for a lot of fun racing tonight.
Well, Dupuy going to keep fighting this one out here with Fleming, Augustino, and Combs very much in the mix just behind. And as this is developing, more trucks fighting their way through the Curva du Sol, headed up by Adam Joseph Mailhog, Greg Beckman, Jeremy Castro, Ringo Harrison, all in the mix. Drivers fighting just as hard back here as they are at the front of the field. Everybody wants to make a good impression here on the first race of the season.
Yeah, they're all looking to get those early championship points as well to take into, well, it's a silly season. Still important and fun to get points on the board and get those team championships as well as driver championships started. So when they swap cars, they have plenty of room to kind of have as a buffer.
As drivers slip out wide, you still got the top two, by the way, that are closed. They may have walked out a 4.4 second gap, but I mean, these guys are still within half a second of each other, and Henry Morse is looking to put the challenge to Giovanni Romano ASAP.
Henry Morse still a half second behind, running just a couple tenths faster than Giovanni Romano did last time by. So to see if that gap continues to close as those lap times showcase the driver's speed.
Well, Sean Bradley, Ron Wolf still nose to tail for the sixth place spot, a tenth and a half between them. As Wolf set to power this one through. And Wolf going to try to see if he's got anything for it here as Jason Lee Austin Tucker will continue to fight this one out
Oh my gosh.
for 8th place. And man, if we talk about getting close.
Yeah, I was taking a look at this from a chase camera, and these two,
No!
And as we talk about it, I was going to say, had been almost, making contact, but that is a little bit more than almost. And both will slide down just a little bit as they recover.
Credit to Tucker. He waited on him, right? Tucker saying, nope, I won't take the spot like that. Go on. Get yourself recovered.
Yep.
So, pause side for him. Chris Zofer has had an issue. He's, in fact, towed to pit road.
I think his night has gone from bad to worse for Chris Over. I think I've seen him in the wall at least a couple times. Sean Bradley also going to dive in to pit lane. Yeah, I think Chris Over, has just said, I'm out. I've had enough for today.
Well, Chris Bright will keep up the battle here with Jason Lee, and near contact between the two as Austin Tucker leaning on the door now of Jason Lee. And they're going to force it 3 wide with Chris Bright in the middle, down into the seat of the Lago. They both get around Bright. Lee's off the road. All 3 are off the road. Lee's into the grass, and Austin Tucker still alongside.
Chris Bright, meanwhile, is like, I'm just trying to race over here. Didn't expect to get mobbed by 2 different individuals. Chris Flams, however, having a spin just before the second sector.
And Jason Lee repays the favor, takes out Austin Tucker. And the fighting continues. 3 wide again, now with Justin Hall in the mix. Brooks Clayton looking to go around the outside as this fight showing no signs of dying down anytime soon.
Especially not. I think Justin Hall also caught up in this. Will make it for an interesting time. And I think as we look just up the road, there's another battle with Ben Williams and Matthew Dupuis as they go 2 wide down the start-finish stretch.
Yeah, 2 wide. Look out for Rob Wolf and John Combs behind, both trying to stuff it in. They will also make it 2 wide. So Matthew Dupuis fights this one through. Tyler Augustino getting into the mix as well. And John Combs tucking in line as Ron Wolf at risk here of going down another spot, while Dupuis can't make the move on Augustino.
And we'll have to see how this develops. Just a few more minutes here. We'll see if he has the opportunity to once again make the pass.
Dupuis continuing to hold station. Ron Wolf, John Combs, Scott Fleming. All of them still trying to fight it out, as well as once again, you see them all getting just a little bit loose.
Yeah, draft and the aerodynamics of this car really get affected by other cars in front of it, especially in some of these high-speed sectors where really next to nothing is holding these cars to the ground other than the friction and the tire grip. So if the balance of the car gets upset, it really gets felt in how this car handles.
There's a look. Scott Fleming tried to go down the inside of John Combs. Wasn't close enough, but it scares Combs. He locks up. Just keeps it on the racetrack. And that lets this fight continue, but Scott Fleming is all over the back of Combs.
Scott Fleming trying to get into some groove here. See what time he can make up. 2 of them, I think, are going to be going at it this next couple laps here.
That fight for third as well, by the way, has gone nowhere as Alex Cofford and Henry Lieberman remain tightly packed together, 3rd and 4th on the racetrack. So these 2 drivers also wanted to have A close fight, and out wide goes Coffin. Here comes Lieberman.
Alex Coffin having a little bit of a slide there into the braking zone. Caught it before it became a problem, but it did open up this battle to be too wide throughout Junsao. Henry Lieberman gonna look for that over-under. But both are gonna be fighting the aero wash. Oh, big moment there for Henry Lieberman before he gets back on the track. I think he'll be cursing himself a little bit for running into the grass. That'll cause him to slow down and give that time back to Alex Coffin.
The fighting continues as Coffin and Lieberman will seek to keep up the pressure. 6 minutes to go. John Combs looking down to the inside of Ron Wolf, still cannot find a way to close in this fight anymore.
John Combs, Ron Wolf, trying to find the chink in the armor at this point, so that'll allow them that opportunity to go too wide, much like we saw Alex Coffin a moment ago, but that relies on there being a mistake, and there hasn't been one for a moment. So these 5 all within a couple seconds of each other in a battle here from midfield. I think it's going to go down to the wire for these guys.
Likely will, as we've got 5 minutes to go. That is probably going to be close to about 3 laps worth of racing. Tell you what, Alexander Bueller has been reeling these guys in slowly but surely, right? So he is looking like he is there and ready to pounce, making this now a 3-way fight for third.
Man, I think Alex Bueller trying to find what positions he can grab. I think he'll snatch up any that he can in these closing stages. I think it'll be very, man, it'll just be a close one to watch here in the closing stage here. I can't imagine all of them are trying to find that last little bit of pace to put themselves at the top of the pile, come the checkered flag.
Cofford and the others continuing to fight this one out. 4 minutes to go. And what a race it has been so far to kick off the season. And no, Ben Williams with problems as he has gone into the wall. While meanwhile, Bueller attacking his own teammate, Henry Lieberman, and he's going to get through.
Yeah, I think Henry Lieberman had a bit of a moment there as Alex Coffin, I think, had a blink for us, and I think he was trying to figure out where that car was going to end up. And meanwhile, Alexander Bueller said, I'm not going to worry about where that car is going to end up, and made the move, got it done.
Three minutes at the line. Lap times estimated around minute 39s for the race leaders. Giovanni Romano works up over the rise. It will be 2 laps to go this time by. He will be working the penultimate lap while Bueller attacking Coffin for third.
2, I think, are still going at it. I think with just change who's where in the order, I'm excited to see if they're able to make that pass done. If Bueller can get around, set himself up for a solid run at the championship, but it's going to require, I think, a little bit more mistakes from Coffin, which I don't see him making here with 2 laps to go.
But could we see mistakes being made from this battle here, right? Wolf, Dupuis, Combs, Fleming. They have not been devoid of mistakes today. They've made some errors that have seen these spots really kind of flip-flop around. I would not be surprised if we saw them rear their heads again before this race drew to a close.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine, especially the pressure of the final couple laps and being in the positions they have with the pressure, especially as Austin Tucker might be applying a little bit more as he gets around Chris Bright just behind them. I can imagine that it will be a tense few minutes in the closing stages here.
Up front, Alex Cofford fighting it out still with Alexander Bueller, Henry Lieberman right behind. Bueller, can he go and pick up a third place spot? He's got one lap to get the job done, as Giovanni Romano is taking the white flag as we speak. Final lap is here, and Cofford under a lot of pressure for the last podium spot. There goes Bueller, making the load, but he can't go for it into turn one.
Yeah, I think he'll have to find a good run out of Jun Sao to make the pass at this point. I think that's the place he'll want to be. But I think if he sees an opportunity, he's going to have to take it with this little left to play for. And just under a couple tenths between these drivers, how's Cofford going to pie it off and close that door early on? I think it'll make it a hard fight for Bueller over the course of his lap.
Cofford going to continue to hold on to third. Bueller in fourth. Lieberman back in fifth. A look to the inside that time by for Bueller. Couldn't get there. Alex Cofford trying to hold on through the 180-degree left-hander. Back up the hill into Pico de Pato turn 10 for the final time today. Meanwhile, Giovanni Romano going to try to work his way out of Jun Sao and up over the hill. We'll see if Bueller can have a good run going on Alex Cofford as they make their way into the final corner. But Alex Cofford looking like he's got a good drive working with him. Giovanni Romano crosses the start-finish line. Romano wins race number 1 here this afternoon at Interlagos. Bueller closing on Alex Cofford. Cofford's going to block, and Bueller will not be able to get there. Alex Cofford hangs on about a third. They bang doors at the line, and Cofford gets fenced right at the buzzer.
But maintains third. Henry Lieberman going to come home fifth behind both of those drivers. Man.
Several drivers still yet to cross the line. Several battles still yet to be decided. Let's take a look at some of those now. Several drivers giving it everything in that final drag race up over the hill, and trouble for Sean Bradley. I think Bradley may have run out of fuel.
I think so.
As he slowed right to the line and lost 2 spots as a result. And how about that? Nobody, shocking enough, nobody that finished this race on the lead lap, or nobody that finished this race finished a lap down. Only drivers that finished a lap down to those that didn't finish at all.
That's fantastic stuff. I think it kind of shows the, as the usual post-race commences, I think it shows kind of the consistency of pace, plus I think the help of Code 69 has really allowed for them to have, I think, a pretty consistent battling throughout most of this race as a result.
Well, all of that is going to take us around to the conclusion of racing action here this afternoon. So let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon from the main event. It's going to be Giovanni Romano coming home number 1. Henry Morrison second. Cofford fends off Bueller at the line for third. From there, it's Lieberman in 5th. Augustino in 6th. Wolf in 7th. Combs in 8th. Dupuy and Fleming round out the top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be Chris Bright. Austin Tucker in 12th. Jason Lee in 13th. Brooks Clayton in 14th. Jake Kasich going to round out the top 15. Eric Ronenberg, Chris Flam, Steve McClidden, Jeremy Castro, and Sean Bradley going to be the top 20.
Justin Hall, Gabriel Gonzalez, Ringo Harrison, Carson Catley, Greg Becker, Ryan Murphy, Jordan Babcock, Darren By, Adam Joseph Hott, and Corey Barrett then round out the top 30.
The 31st, and going to be Ethan Collins, Kyle Smith, Aaron Thacker, Ryan Verhulst, and are going to be the 34 drivers that come home to the checker flag. Ben Williams going to finish, unfortunately, just barely DNF it, a couple laps down. And then Chris Zofer, Alex King, Tyler Carlton, Sebastian Close and Evan Campbell are the 40 drivers that took to the green flag in the start of the race.
All of that takes us to the end of race in action here tonight. Let's give a chit chat here to the drivers that finished this race, numbers 1, 2, and 3. And Fen, you're going to be standing by on the podium, and we'll let you kick things off with race winner, Ron Wolf. Sorry, not Ron Wolf. What am I talking about? Giovanni Romano coming home number 1.
I was pretty sure it was Giovanni, but congrats on the first win of, I think it's called the silly season. How are you feeling about the trucks?
I kind of picked this car, or was definitely pushed it for it. So very happy about it. It's a very, very fun to drive.
It makes sense then, I think, why you are on the top of the podium. A fantastic drive today. I think, what was the strategy with the pit cycles? I know it was going to be a pretty consistent 3-stopper I thought I saw, but I was just super curious where that ended up.
The fuel was sort of borderline 1-stop or 2-stop, depending on the yellows. So when we got the first yellow, I just decided to stay out because I didn't have great track position, and with that yellow, it was easy to do it on one more stop. And then the second yellow came out basically like bang on when the pit window was opening anyway. So it was a no-brainer to come down and pit.
Fantastic stuff. Next week, we take out the Pro 2 lights. Are you equally as excited about those versus the NASCAR trucks, as they're both truck style cars?
They're both trucks, and that's kind of where the similarities end. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. I have done a few sort of like meme races with those before on road courses. They can be a lot of fun, but how it plays out will depend on the track. They're actually really, really drafty. So if we get a track like a bigger track, or even like a medium-sized track like this, you could see maybe a draft tandem race, but with like giant trucks, which will be funny. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Definitely unique, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we'll hope to see you back here on the podium next week when we go racing in those Pro 2 lights. I don't think we'll find out the track until the day of, by the sounds of it. So until then, thank you very much. Congratulations again, and good luck next week.
Yep, thank you.
That was Giovanni Romano, comes home P1. And I'm also standing by, I believe, with Henry Morris, who's in second. Henry Morris, trying to make up the last bit of time there. What was the plan?
I did not really have a whole lot left. I think I had a shot at him on the restart, and there was a moment about 3 or 4 laps after the restart where I had some good momentum, but I didn't really get alongside him, and that was that. He had better pace the last few laps, and that was everything I could have gotten out of it. Pretty happy with still second place is pretty great, starting from the pits, and I was able to make up quite a few, I think a few more spots than him in the heat. So I should be about level with him on points. So for me, that was a good first round to the season, and I'm excited to see where we are next weekend. And I don't even know what car we're racing next week. So
the Pro 2 lights are going to be what we're racing next week. Are you excited about those?
Very much. Yeah, actually, I was part of the team that selected that car. So
nice.
Looking forward to it.
So, you're more excited than the NASCAR trucks, or less excited?
I think I'm excited because there's so many unknowns. I don't know which one I was more excited for. I think I was more excited for those, but honestly, these things drove great, and this was a great event. Pretty much everyone had a good time in this truck, honestly. So it'll be interesting next time we run these, because I think everyone learned a lot this time as far as tire consumption and the limits of the vehicle, as far as how they evolve versus how your braking limits evolve versus your cornering limits. You can brake pretty consistently throughout, but then when you actually lean on the tire in the corner, it's pretty different. So I think everyone learned a lot, and I think next time we run this truck, it'll actually be pretty different. But next time, we're going to be learning all over again in a new vehicle. So I'm very much excited for that. I hope we can run with no track limits, I think is what we're going to be doing. That's what we ran today. There's only a limit of 4x incident points. But as far as track limits, that was not enforced today. So there was a bunch of us in the incident points. So yeah, assuming we get the same rules that we had today next week, which I don't see why we wouldn't, it'll be great because obviously, ideally in the trophy truck, you're able to use the grass and the dirt as well as the paved racing surface. So it should be a fun event.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to it, and hopefully we see you back here on the podium.
That's the goal.
Just a week time. Take care. Thank you very much. Congrats again on the P2.
Thank you.
And that was Henry Morris comes on P2. P3, Alex Cofford. A valiant effort. How was the race for you?
Nah, it was all right. I don't like this truck very much. It was fine. I don't know. The two guys in front of me drove the entire track from wall to wall, and that's an interesting strategy. But hey, got them winning P2, so it's good for them.
Are you excited about the Pro 2 Lights next week?
Yeah, I'd love the Pro 2 just because of the horsepower, but I mean, that's probably my strongest vehicle in the sim. So, I mean, definitely here to clap everyone.
Well, hopefully we see you back on the top step of the podium. Anything else we missed in the race? I know we kind of saw a lot of your race as it was. A fantastic effort from pit lane up to P3. He had a pretty great restart also on the second one, if I was remembering correctly.
Yeah, the first one, I don't know, two guys in front of me were idiots and wrecked on a straightaway, so good for them. The second one, probably same happened. I don't know. You know, we got room temperature IQ in here, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just tried to keep it clean, and Bueller for sure was definitely faster than me, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna try to keep it on the line. If he passes me, awesome. If not, then sweet, I get a podium. And yeah, if the race was long enough, he would have got by me. But you know, especially on like worn tires where it wants to slip and slide, it's difficult to pass if you don't make a mistake. So I was just trying to limit my mistakes and put the truck in a place that made it hard for Bueller to pass. But yeah, he was definitely faster than me, and if he would have got around me, like that would have been a lost cause. So good on him. He was quick.
Absolutely, but also good defense work from you. Hopefully we see you back on the podium next week. Anything else we missed?
Yeah, we did like a human centipede in practice and like tried to warm our tires up to 1,000 degrees because damage is off. So yeah, man, we like have literally over 1,000 oil temperature, and our rear tires turn into plasma. So those are always fun. Love messing around with these guys in practice.
Well, fantastic stuff. Hopefully we'll catch up with that next week. Until then, congrats again on P3. Hopefully we see you back on the top of the podium next week with the Pro 2s.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You as well. Thank you very much. And that was Alex Cofford, who comes on P3 on the podium.
Fun enough, I don't think changing the elemental structure of your tires is a race-winning strategy, but I guess to each their own.
I mean, it's what they did in practice. It seemed to do something, so.
Well, that's going to be it then for us here this afternoon. Overall, a stellar afternoon of racing here from the Interlagos circuit, and there's still more action yet to be had as well over the next little while. When we go racing next, it is, of course, going to be for a wild one. Coming up tomorrow afternoon is the Speed Cup Series coming at you from the Talladega Super Speedway. You also had the Zero Tour Race Rally out at the Michigan International Speedway on Friday. That's going to be coming in hot as well alongside the Mid-Atlantic Racing Series at Charlotte. SRA is going to be out at Pocono. Blazing Pedals action from Michigan this coming Sunday. And, of course, the OMS Gold Series taking to the Magic Mile this coming Tuesday as well. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. As always, my name is Nolan Rempel alongside Finicini. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you all when we go racing next week, wherever we may be running at.